Let's talk about one of the most incredible turnarounds in history. We're in Mecca, and the city is in total turmoil. And right at the center of it all is this one guy, a man who was, without a doubt, one of Islam's fiercest, most feared opponents. And this quote right here, it just perfectly captures who we're talking about. Omar ibn Al-Khattab, before everything changed. See, he wasn't just some guy who disagreed. No, he was a pillar of the old guard, a real enforcer for the ruling Quraysh tribe. For him, Islam wasn't just a different opinion. It was a wrecking ball aimed at his entire world. So that's the big question, isn't it? How does someone like that, one of Islam's most feared enemies, become its greatest champion? Well, that's the journey we're going on today. We're going to follow step by step how this man of iron will completely flipped his entire life around. All right, so let's set the scene. We're in the 6th year of the prophethood. Mecca is just electric with tension. It's like a cauldron, just boiling. This new message, Islam, it's sending shockwaves through the powerful Quraysh tribe, the ruling class. And they feel like their whole way of life is on the line. And you really have to get this. For Omar, this was deeply personal. It wasn't just about politics. His loyalty was tied to generations of his ancestors' traditions. So naturally, this put him in direct, powerful opposition to the Prophet Muhammad. In Omar's eyes, the Prophet was the one causing all this chaos. So all that tension in Makkah, it finally hits a breaking point for Omar. And, well, he's not the kind of guy to just sit back and watch. Nope. He decided it was time to act. And we're not talking about just a threat here, or some empty show of force. This was a mission. He was dead serious. In his mind, the only way to restore order, to bring unity back to his people, was to eliminate the problem at its source. And listen to this. These are his own words, spoken to a guy he just happened to meet on the road. There's zero ambiguity here, right? His intention was crystal clear, and it was all fueled by this powerful sense of duty to his people and his traditions. But here's the twist. That man he met, Nuaym bin Abdallah, he was secretly a Muslim. And what he says next, it doesn't just save the Prophet's life, it literally changes the course of history. I mean, can you even imagine the shock? Here's Omar on his way to extinguish the flame of this new faith, and suddenly he's told it's already burning inside his own house. Just like that, his mission completely changes. He's not going to the Prophet's house anymore, he's headed straight for his sisters. He storms in, his voice just booming like thunder. All that rage he had bottled up for the Prophet, it's now aimed like a laser directly at his own family. And this is where something incredible happens. Think about it. In the face of his terrifying anger, he'd already hit her husband. His sister, Fatima, she doesn't back down. She doesn't cower. She stands right up to him and declares her faith. Just unbelievable courage. And that moment of violence, striking his own sister, that was it. That was the turning point. Seeing her blood just shatters him. His tough exterior, his anger, his pride, it all just crumbles. And all that's left is this overwhelming sense of shame and regret. So the anger is gone, vanished, replaced by shame. And in this new, vulnerable state, he asks for something, a request that will change absolutely everything. But even then, his sister holds her ground. She demands respect for the sacred words, insisting he purify himself first. And get this, Omar, the proud enforcer of Quraysh, he actually does it. That simple act of washing, that was his first real step away from his old life and towards something completely new. So he takes the scroll and he starts to read the opening verses of Surah Taha. And this is another huge piece of the puzzle, the incredible power of the words themselves. It wasn't a message of distress or anger. It was a reminder. And those words just flowed right into his heart, which was finally open to hearing them. And his reaction? It was immediate. It was deep. He knew this wasn't the poetry he grew up with. It wasn't some kind of magic trick like people were saying. No, this was something else entirely. Something so beautiful and so noble, it spoke directly to his soul. And then, the final piece of the puzzle just clicks into place. Turns out there was someone else there, hiding the whole time. He comes out and tells Omar that the Prophet himself had been praying the night before, specifically for Omar. Can you believe that? He was the answer to a prayer he didn't even know existed. Right then and there, his whole purpose changed. He wasn't on a mission to kill anymore.
He was on a mission to find life. He picks up his sword again, but this time he's going to find the Prophet, not to end his life, but to join him.
So he gets to the safe house, and you can imagine the Muslims inside are absolutely terrified. But the Prophet, he meets him head-on with this powerful challenge. And right there, face to face with the man he came to kill, this mountain of a man, Omar, finally submits. All that harshness just melts away.
And the fear that had been hanging over the early Muslims, the reason they had to meet in secret, it was just gone. Instantly shattered by this incredible wave of joy. I mean, their greatest enemy had just joined them. That was a victory that you could hear echoing through the streets.
Omar's change wasn't gradual. It was immediate, and it was total. He took all that fire he once used to attack Islam and turned it around to proclaim it. His very first act as a Muslim, he challenges the whole idea of secrecy. He basically asks, why are we hiding? We have the truth. And it's because of that bold stance, that insistence on being open about their faith, that the Prophet gives him a new title, Al-Faruq. It means the one who distinguishes truth from falsehood. His conversion literally drew a line in the sand between the time of hiding in fear and the new era of proclaiming their faith out loud, with strength.
So when you look back at this whole story, there are some pretty powerful takeaways, right? It shows us that maybe no one is beyond hope, that guidance can come from an unseen prayer. It shows us that sometimes the words themselves are the miracle. It shows that the courage of just one person, like his sister Fatima, can change everything. And finally, that when you find the truth, you have to speak it boldly.
So what does it take to turn an enemy into an ally? What has that kind of power? This story suggests it's not just one thing. It's a mix. It's courageous confrontation. It's the power of sincere words. And maybe most important of all, it's a heart that, even when it seems completely hardened, is still open to the possibility of a profound, earth-shattering change.